My definition of success is to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, because I want.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
And welcome back to the program, everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out in the podcast chair. I want to spend just a couple of minutes asking a question that's been on my mind quite frequently, frankly, probably because I'm getting a little bit older. As I get older, I also get wise enough to be a participant in ANOW. ANOW software is, folks, check them out. It's anow.com. Just browse their website, find out what they can do for you. It's an amazing company, amazing software that will help you to do more. Whether you're a single man office or multiple person office, check them out, anow.com. Again, it's anow.com. All right, folks, as I get older, I start to think about retirement. I start to think about my future. Now, let's be fair. It's not like I'm starting to think about this. I've thought about this for a very long time, really back to the time I was a teenager when I was thinking about what it was that I wanted to do with my life, what it was that I wanted to do for a living, if you will, for a career moving forward. And, I'm always thinking about what does that look like long term? What does retirement look like? Now, I've got a lot of feelings on retirement. Frankly, I don't ever see myself fully, quote unquote, retiring as they do in the movies, if you will. I don't see myself having my last day, getting that watch and buying an RV and traveling the country. I've seen many of my friends who have reached that pinnacle in life, if you will, that they have reached the age of retirement, whatever that is, 65, 62, 63, whatever it is for you. I know the government has their definition of what that looks like. What does that look like for you? I don't know. From a very young age, I had a goal to be able to retire early. That does not mean I'm necessarily going to, quote unquote, retire. Again, I want to stress, retirement for me may look very, very different than it does for someone else. But for the most part, I am still looking forward to the opportunity, if you will, the blessing, the freedom, the liberty to not have to work. You've heard me talk about my definition of success many times in the past. I will repeat it here quickly. My definition of success is to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, because I want. And that to me is the definition of retirement. And that includes, by the way, possibly working. Again, I've seen many of my friends reach that pinnacle in life and reach the age of retirement and go through that process only to be back in the workforce within a couple of years. And why? When you ask them, it's not about the money, it's not about the security, it's about the stir craziness. It's about not having something, a purpose, if you will, to do. Now, again, I don't necessarily think that means work with a paycheck. You can find a lot of meaning in service, in visiting family, in hobbies, in different things that I think can give you purpose on a daily basis. Honestly, my form of retirement probably looks a lot like this. It probably looks like I don't need to show up to an office daily. I don't mind being on a board of directors, if you will, being a coach, a mentor at some level, but also focusing on my hobby, if you will, / retirement goals, and that has to do with long-term real estate investment. I love real estate. It's something that excites me. The more I get into it, the more I love it, the more I see the advantage of being involved in that side of things. But it also keeps my mind alive and quick and active, and I can see myself doing that forever, if you will. What does retirement look like for you? I want to talk about a few things that you should be thinking about, I believe, if you have not done so already. And if you have, maybe just a reminder as we get back from the break. I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by ANOW software. ANOW, of course, is the software that I have been using upwards of about 4 years now. I would have to go back and do the math, but I think it's about 4 years now that Marty approached me and said, Dustin, you really ought to try this. And I said, Marty, come on, man, take a hike. I've got so much coming at me. I really don't have time to try one. No, you got to try this, got to try this. He twisted my arm. I didn't like it at first because it was change and we never like change. And I'll tell you, folks, once I jumped on board, once I really got into it, I absolutely loved it. No turning back. ANOW software is where it's at. If you want to manage every aspect of your appraisal office, that means your volume, that means your orders, that means your stats, if you will. Everything that has to do with running a successful appraisal business, whether you are a one-man show, a one-person show, we are equal opportunity here, or a multi-person office, check them out. Go to anow.com. Again, it's anow.com. Welcome back to the program, everybody. We're talking today briefly about retirement. Just a quick reminder. Here it is. We're the end of one year, beginning of another, and it's a great opportunity for you to look forward and think about retirement. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, Dustin, I'm 62, and I've thought about retirement a lot, but I'm kind of stuck. Folks, that's kind of the point of today's reminder, if you will, nudge, gentle nudge. Just an encouragement to take some time to say, you know what, folks, you can't climb up in attics the rest of your life. Let's face it. Our bodies get old, they get worn out. There's going to come a time that walking through a property, getting up in the attic and down in the crawl space is not going to be possible. There's going to come a time when you cannot physically drive anymore to properties. And I know a lot of you are holding out for this self-driving car thing, but still, I mean, you may get to the property, but can you actually do the physical work? Again, I'm a long way from that, and I know that a lot of you are a long way away from that, but that's kind of the point, right? It is coming, and if you wait until the last minute to make plans, you have waited too long. Today's episode, if you will's purpose is to remind you to think about this, whether you be 62 or 42 or 22, right? This is something that you need to be thinking about. And the question that I would ask, it's a question that I ask my mastermind students on a regular basis. It's a question that I ask on a regular basis to my one-on-one coaching students. What does retirement look like for you? Now, some say, I don't ever see myself retiring. Okay, great. That's fine. Again, I'm in that category as well, but I do see my life changing. Right? You may not necessarily say, okay, at 65, I'm going to retire and start taking Social Security and boom, right? But my question, folks, is do you have a nest egg? Do you have things set aside? Have you been contributing to an IRA? What does that look like for you? Because most of us are not willing to take a huge financial setback when it comes to retirement. And now is the time, whether you be 22, 42, 62, 82, 102, now is the time to start thinking about what that looks like for you. Folks, if I can help you with this and sit down with you and talk through your individual circumstances, this is something I do on a regular basis. We go through your finances, we talk about where you're at, what does retirement look like for you, we talk about your individual plan, your vision for what the future looks like. Please reach out to me, the coach at theappraisercoach.com. Would love to schedule some time to meet with you and talk about retirement or anything else that might be on your plate. Thank you for joining me for this quick mini-sode, and we'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.